Hello, I am Wallas, the Polish toy guy, and in today's video I want to show you something from the Transformers first movie line from year 2007, produced by Hasbro, and that is the trio of Optimus Prime, Ratchet and Barricade in the CYBERSLAMMERS interpretation. Now, CYBERSLAMMERS were one of the simpler toys from the movie line. As we all know, that line had a very visible distinction between the more complex toys that had full transformations and things, and simpler toys that were designed for a younger audience that only then began their adventure with Transformers, so they required something simpler to play with, or they just did not care about things like complex transformation or complex looks as long as something transformed. And like it's the case with many of the simpler Movieverse Transformers toys, the entire existence of these three revolves around their gimmicks and also dictates their looks, which might seem familiar if you know Generation 1. Especially if you know Battle Chargers and Throttle Bots. And yes, this look is similar by no accident, as these two types of toy share their gimmick. Only in case of the newer ones, this gimmick is slightly more automated, as I'll show you in a moment. But first, let's take a look at the visual design of these three for a moment. So let's start with Optimus Prime. This should help us save our faces, and as you can see, very simple design of the bottom half. We have the front of the truck mode, all 6 wheels, of which only 4 actually move. This is just molded in and painted. Back of the truck with some nice details. The top of the truck, side of the truck, and yes, what's inside is actually the robot mode. So we have a simplified head with these eyes that have these small sun-like markings inside that we can often see on simpler toys of Bumblebee. I think that's designed to make these toys slightly more friendly and cute. But the paint apps on the head are quite nice, as is the molding. And we have very simple chest design. Some more details on the abdomen. Painted hands that are all that actually is the hand on this toy. It's actually even a bent hand. And as you can see, for some reason we have spring-loaded arms. If you want to have some sort of punching action, I'm not sure. And we have nothing over here. But as you can see, this bit is spring-loaded. And with that said, we can now move on to Barricade. So we have Autobot, Decepticon, Autobot mix. And he's very black. So his main paint applications are silver for the lights, and some dark blue, some kind of purple blue. We have, of course, a nice Decepticon logo. We have only 4 wheels, which all move. Painted details on the back and on the sides. And again, we have these spring-loaded arms, but they are harder to move than on Optimus Prime because we have no lever made from the smokestacks. And we have very black torso with some details that imitate the bigger versions of Barricade. So we have the car grille, his lights, things like that. This is painted nicely. And the head is very nice, although it is quite hard to look at. Go gadget focus. There we go. Very black, so it absorbs all light, including the one from my Studio Lightning. But yes, we have this detailed bug-like alien head. We have some gold over here, I think, and we have some very tiny smidges of blue, and also these silver collar pieces. This is a quite nice head. Slightly more regular movie than Optimus Prime, but yes, it works just fine. It's definitely Barricade. And finally, here we have Ratchet, who is definitely the most massive out of this bunch. And again, on the front we just have his vehicle mode details, very nice at that. On the back we have his roof. And we have some painting on his windows. Some broken details of his side symbols. a small Autobot logo, and again we can move his arms, and here we can actually use his side view mirrors as a leverage point, which is also blocked by this chunk of plastic, as it seems. And we have some nice painted details inside. We have a simplified chest of his regular model, we have a bit of abdomen paint, nice details, and again a chibified, super deformed friendly head, which again has these sun-like dark details inside, and some silver paint in the usual places. So I think that out of these three, Barricade has the most movie accurate head. Definitely this is more accurate to his on-screen version than this or Optimus Prime's head. These are not bad, just different, more kid-friendly. And with all of that said and done, it's time to show you the gimmick which we have to go through if we want to transform these toys into vehicle mode. And I will show you how this gimmick works on Ratchet, because in my case he's the best balance between it actually working and being easy to use. So we grab our toy, press down on it until all of these parts align with the bottom, forming the vehicle mode. And as we do it, this bit pushes forward the front of the car, and I'm keeping my hand on the toy because it's required until you want to actually use this function. And the thing is, when I press down this bit on the rest of the toy, I wound up a motor that's inside, and this charge will in a moment allow me to release this toy so that it runs freely and after some time transforms back into the robot mode. So let's do it. It's release time. Go Ratchet. Yes, that's how it works on a limited curved space, but you get the idea. So press down to rev up the wind up engine, aim, fire, wait for it to transform, and as you probably noticed, there are two important things to remember when using this gimmick. First, when you push down on the toy to rev up the wind-up motor, you want to keep your hand on the toy until you are ready to set the toy free, and you also want to make sure the rear wheels connected to the motor are touching the ground, because if you let them disconnect from the floor, they will release the motor's charge, rendering this gimmick pretty much already done in one place. So again, we want to push down, keep our hands on the toy and wheels on the ground, and then after aiming we set it free, and then it works. Probably better if you have a longer runway for it. Also, alternatively, this is where the name comes from, CYBERSLAMMERS. You are supposed to slam these toys against each other, and also the shock from them hitting each other should be enough to activate the quicker transformation. Again, if you have more space to use. Alright, let's try this again, now with a bigger distance between the toys. So I'm winding them up. And to make sure this actually works, I'm giving them an extra charge with a swift move of my hands. And they slammed into each other and they both transformed. So, despite Ratchet landing on his side, I deem this a success. So let's try this again, now with Optimus Prime perhaps. So, keep the distance, charge and fire. Again, it worked, so we indeed performed some cyber slamming. And truth to be told, while this gimmick can be accessed on all three of these toys, it's not equally as easy to access, as I will show you in a second. So let's start with Barricade. We compress him and we roll him. No problem, he transforms just fine. We take Ratchet. We compress him. Again, no problems. We let him roll. And he went off screen and did not transform, but he did actually move on his own. That's nice. And now I take Optimus Prime, and with him there is a chance the transformation will not succeed because of these parts hitting these parts if we don't do the transformation fast enough, or if we accidentally push our hands on these two bits. So let's try this really fast. See? This is what happened. And did I even press on these? Yeah, I think I pressed on these with this part of my hand. So now I'm going to try use only 2 fingers. Again, did not do that fast enough, so let's try to Cyber Slam Optimus Prime from the top. And now it worked. But as you've seen a second ago, that's not always a given, so this is something you have to pay attention to. But let's suppose you want to transform this toy not to use the gimmick but to admire the vehicle mode, and perhaps without holding the toy like a sandwich while you're at it. That is thankfully also possible by using a small white lever at the bottom of each of these toys. As you can see, we have this small switch that is currently in its rear position. We flip it forward and this disables the Cyber Slammer gimmick and allows us to transform the toy so that it stays in vehicle mode. Just like that. So again, lever forward, press down, vehicle mode achieved, and again, lever forward, press down, vehicle mode stable. Great. And I think it was a good idea to add this disabling mechanism, not only because now this truly serves as 2 toys in one, but also because these alt modes are quite charming to look at in their own way. Let's start with Optimus Prime. Yeah, we've seen all of these details before in robot mode. Not much is hidden right now, but it does change the overall shape into something quite cute. Definitely will work for kids and adults who like cute things. And here we have Ratchet, who is again the most blocky toy of this lot in this mode as well, and as a result is not as dynamic as Prime and Barricade. He works, we know it's a Hummer, we know it's a car, a rescue car, but it's definitely not as, shall we say, exciting as the other 2. Still serves its purpose of being a vehicle mode. And finally we have Barricade, who is definitely my favorite because this looks very, very charming. A super deformed Celine S281, if I remember correctly. Also for some reason makes me think of Toy Story. But yes, I wish there was a bit more paint, especially here, so we could see the front grille with more ease. But what we have is still, I think, quite enough given the budget of this toy, given what were the priorities. Definitely a very fun, cute, super deformed car, both to hold and to look at. So out of these 3, this is definitely my favorite. Then we have Prime, who is second place, and finally Ratchet. And disabling the Cyber Slammer gimmick not only prevents these toys from transforming without our permission, but also enables us to roll them freely on the ground, which can also be quite pleasant. And that was the common cola can, which I might as well bring out now. And now it's time for the comparison, so let's start with the aforementioned common cola can. And here's our trio next to Deluxe, Dark of the Moon Optimus Prime, Legion, Dark of the Moon Bumblebee, and your typical LEGO minifigure. And for vehicle modes, here we have them next to Voyager, Evasion Mode Optimus Prime from Age of Extinction, Animated Deluxe Bumblebee, and Generation 1 Throttlebot Chase. So overall I like these toys. yes, they are very simple in what they do, and people who prefer complex transformations and show and movie accurate looks may not like them, but for what they are, I think they work quite well with the simple, super deformed, kid-friendly looks, a simple but eye-catching and working gimmick, and very simple, barely existing and yet somehow charming robot modes. Also, quite an interesting way to use the general principle of throttle bots in a different way than usual. So, yes, if you like to collect simpler Transformer toys, I think these will work for you. And also, one other use that I sometimes have for them is to entertain my guests, especially if they come with their children. This is a very good icebreaker with them. You want to become their friends, just show them these simple Transformers and chances are they will ask you to bring out more toys from your collection for them to see in a matter of minutes. So this worked many times for me and I think it could work for you. So yes, for what they are and what they do, I think they work nice, and if that's your thing, I recommend them. They are worth a try. You don't have to collect all of them, but a few can't hurt. And that's all for this video review. I will be back with the next one soon. And until then, stay well.